All right, welcome to our workshop offered by the Office of Work Life and at the University of Kentucky. And we're going to be talking about general summer camp information at this particular workshop session today. And we have some camp representatives that are joining us as well, and you'll hear from them shortly. To get us started, let's go ahead and do a quick overview of what we're going to cover today and what you can anticipate. We're going to talk about some summer camp basics, things to consider or acknowledge when you are selecting a summer camp. We're also going to meet our camp representatives and hear some advice and suggestions, as well as an overview of their services and their camps. We're also going to talk about what camps wish parents knew. Sometimes when you're considering selecting a camp, there are some things that camps think, oh, I wish every parent knew this when they signed up or before they signed up, and they're going to offer those tips to you. And then we're going to share some parent-to-parent tips, just tips that other parents just want to share, things that they've learned along the way. And then we're going to wrap it up with some benefits of sending your children to summer camps. So let's start with the basics. When it comes to summer camps, there's a variety of camps. For those of you that are listening or watching this live, you probably know some of this information if you've already sent children to summer camps. But we know for some parents, this is their first go round with summer camps. They're still trying to figure out what is a summer camp and what does that mean? So when it comes to the types of summer camps, we have day camps. Those are the camps where you just send your child during the day when you're at work, and at the end of the day, you pick them up or they get dropped off depending on the structure of the camp. And then we have overnight camps. That could, for example, like a 4-H camp would be an overnight camp where they leave on a Monday and they come back on a Friday. And also, those are sometimes called residential camps. And that may mean they're staying on a university campus or they're staying in camp at a campsite or staying someplace. So that's residential. They're there 24 hours a day. Then we have partial day camps or all day camps. A partial day camp are camps that may be from 9 to 12 or 1 to 4, something like that. And then the all day camps they're typically sometimes 9 to 4 or 8 to 5. You'll find that some camps will have their standard time being like 9 to 4, but they'll have what they call an early drop off or a late pickup. So the early drop off might be an hour, hour and a half before the official start of the camp. And then they may have that hour, hour and a half after the official end of the camp where you can pay extra usually for your child to be either dropped off early or picked up later. And then we have the all day or several days camp. Sometimes there's a camp where it's just 2 days and that's it. It's not a full week. And then we'll have the several day camps where it's multiple days or it could be the full week. And then that camp may be run several times in that summer. And we have some camps that run every week of the summer or 6 weeks of the summer. So the camps vary in terms of, the types and the lengths of them. Obviously, there's camps that are local, regional, and nationwide as well. When it comes to the categories of camp, today we're focusing on our general or our variety camps, the camps that tend to have a variety of things to do, and not just one particular category. And then the special interest camps, they tend to focus on a very specific particular category. And so, for example, it could be academic, it could be adventure, it could be athletics or sports, arts, military, religion, service, special needs, STEM camp, and that would be science, technology, engineering, math, or even a STEAM camp, add the arts piece in there. So these are specialty camps. For example, if your child went to a swim camp or a theater camp or, a basketball camp or, those are just kind of examples of a specialty camp. And I love this little quote here that says, camp is a place where friends are made, memories are created, and dreams take flight. And oftentimes your children will come home and they'll be exhausted, but they will have had a ball. All right. So here's some things to consider when you're thinking about a camp. And I'm just going to talk through these and then we'll go ahead and transition to hear from our speakers. But when you're thinking about camps, there's lots of things to think about from your perspective and your child's perspective and many other. So let's just walk through this together. One of the things that we can consider when we're talking about selecting a camp, we want to think about what are your child's interests? What's your child's personality, their abilities, their skills? Do they have any special needs? Their maturity level. Sometimes you don't think about maturity level because you may have an 8-year old, but maturity wise, they may be more like 10 or they may be more like 6. So that's something to think about depending on what that camp activities are and what they're expecting of that child. You want to consider, is my child at the maturity level to do these activities, to maintain these activities, to even enjoy these activities? And so you want to think about your child's interests. So if your child loves art or they love science or they love swimming or something like that, then those type of camps might be great for them. If your child hates swimming and they hate art and they hate, then you may go, I don't know if I want to sign them up for like an all day or a whole week, swimming camp because they hate swimming. But then at the same time, you may be selecting that for your own purposes. You may say, I really want them to become an excellent swimmer, so I'm going to sign them up for this swimming camp. So there's different things to consider, right? Also, possible pitfalls, hiccups, challenges. Pitfalls could be maybe you have to drive really far to take them there. I mean, that's something to think about. Maybe the camp ends at 4 o'clock and you get off at 5 o'clock. So these are kind of things to think about. Do I have a plan? Do they have a stay later process, or do I literally have to get them at 4 o'clock? And how's that going to work with my work schedule? Or can someone else pick them up? So those are things that you want to think about as well. And then practically, realistically, is this a good fit for my child? Are they going to enjoy those activities? And then you want to think about a child's ability to deal with stress, transition, follow directions, maintain a schedule. Yes, they were in school. School schedules are different from camp schedules. So life schedule, home schedules are different. So you just want to also think about, depending on the activities and type of camp that you're trying to send your child to, how well do they deal with stress? How well do they deal with transitions? And the nice thing about knowing that is you can share that with the camp. So you can possibly give the camp leaders some suggestions, some advice on how to help your child transition. One of my children, I have three, always had issues with transitions. So that was something we'd always talk to teachers and anyone about, like, okay, give him like a good 30-minute warning and then help him transition. So we'd always kind of make those make sure people knew this is what you need to do for our child to help him, right? And then parents, are you ready? Are you ready to let your child go to camp? Are you ready to let the camp really work with them, or are you going to be worried about it a lot? What's your motivation? Kind of know your motivation. Honestly, sometimes your motivation is, I need childcare over the summer. Like that's your motivation. Or your motivation is, like I said earlier, I really want them to become a really strong swimmer. So I'm going to sign them up for the swim camp for this week. So whatever your motivation is, just be clear on what that is, why you're selecting that particular camp, why you think that'll be good for them. And then sometimes, considering your personal finances, can you afford the camp? Are there discounts that the camp offers to help you with that? So you just want to think about that and your whole family schedule. Thinking about summer camps, if you're picking certain weeks and your family's going to be on vacation, I got to think about, am I avoiding the vacation week that I signed them up for? So oftentimes you're building the camp schedule based on your family schedule and what you have going on. And then other details to consider. Do your research. When it comes to choosing a camp, you really want to do your research. If possible, you want to talk to people that have already sent their child or children to that particular camp. You want to ask, do you have any surveys or evals from previous, parents or campers that you can share with me? Do they have a website that you can go and dive into and kind of learn more about what they do and how they do it and their schedules and things like that? So just kind of do your research and make sure you're very clear about the schedules and something as simple as it's from 9 to 4 and maybe the drop off early, there's no cost, but to stay late, there is a cost. So those are little details you want to make sure you're really mindful of. I put in here recommended ages because, again, back to that, your child's actual age and your child maturity age, it may not be the same. So you want to think about, these are some details. What ages do they recommend for this camp? So maybe the camp starts at 5 years old and they go to 12 or something like that. But you can talk to them and just say, okay, based on the activities that you do here and the timeline and all of that, what ages tend to really thrive in this camp? And they may say, we find that the 8-year-olds to like 10-year-olds or even 12 really thrive here. And that may or may not sway your decision, but it's nice to kind of know that. And you want to, of course, know what type of activities that they're doing because also that helps you to decide, okay, based on my child's interests, personality, skills, abilities, needs, this is going to be a good fit. All right. And this does not mean that the first day your child may be like, I don't want to go back tomorrow. They may just be having a moment adjusting and they may be fine in the long run. But it's just something to keep in mind. You also want to know, how does this camp communicate? Is there a special app they want me to download, or is there a website that I need to check? Is there a special text or social media site or emails that they will send out weekly or a daily email about what's going on or what happened today? Do they give me a piece of paper when I pick my child up? Like, just kind of know how they communicate and who is the number that you need to call if you have a question about something that's going on with them, or your child is texting you in the middle of the day, like who can you call to ask questions? So just kind of getting that information can be very, very helpful. The staff to camper ratio, what's flexible? Because I say what's flexible, let's just say you sign up for a camp and it's a 5-day camp, it's a whole week, but your family has something planned for Wednesday, and you're wanting to know, can my child miss Wednesday or can my child be there half a day on Thursday? That kind of thing. Like, how flexible is this? And just knowing if they say, well, if you can't come the whole day, you can't come half a day. Knowing that fact is important. Or if they say if they're coming for the day, they have to be here at least by 10 o'clock. If they're not here by 10, they can't come. So those are things that you just want to make sure you know. And I put in here UK discount. Definitely ask about that, but any other type of discount, you want to ask about that as well. Transportation plans. Do they plan to transport your child from one activity to the next? Is there an extra fee for that? I mean, just asking lots and lots of questions is super helpful. And a lot of times you can learn about a lot of these details by just reading their website, reading the details about the camp that's promoted, reading all of it, not just some of it. Sometimes when you skim, you miss some things. But if you determine early on, I think this is something I want to investigate a little further, then definitely do that deep dive into the communication that they've already put out there for you. All right, so now we're going to transition and give our camp representatives a chance to address you and talk to you about what they offer and how you can get connected to them and so forth. So we're going to start with Awesome Inc. and going to talk about their week of code. So our Awesome Inc. representative, you can go ahead and speak and share with us who you are and take your 2 to 3 minutes and give us your summary.
All right, thank you very much, Azita. So, my name is Nathan Wilson. I'm the director of Awesome Inc.'s Week of Code summer camp. Um, it Imagine if your kid, instead of just playing video games all summer or scrolling on their apps, was able to create video games or make their own apps. That's what we're teaching at Awesome Inc.'s Week of Code camp. We're teaching kids the fundamentals of coding. By the end of the camp, they'll be able to build a mobile app, a website, their own video game. And the last day of the camp, the parents get to come and watch their kids demo their final project. And so we host three of these camps this summer, June 9th through the 12th, June 16th through the 19th, and July 14th through the 17th. And our camp is 1 through 5 p.m., Monday through Thursday. And yeah, that our whole goal of the camp is just to get kids an introduction to coding, whether that's their main focus or not. It's geared towards children that are between the ages of 9 to 16. But like Azita was saying, it depends on their maturity level. We've made exceptions for younger kids that might be slightly more mature, more experienced with these things. But your kids don't have to have any experience before. Um, and yeah, that's pretty much a summary of our Week of Code camp. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Nathan.
All right, I guess I'm up now. Hi, I'm Sebastian Bryson. I'm department chair of the Department of Civil Engineering here at the University of Kentucky. I'm representing the Summer Engineering Exploration Camp, SEEK. SEEK is a 1 week residential camp for rising high school juniors and so, excuse me, high school seniors. So the summer right before your senior year, you're eligible for SEEK. What is SEEK? SEEK is an immersive camp. It's a residential camp, so the kids will be staying a whole week on campus in the dorms. It is an immersive 1 week camp to introduce kids to civil engineering and all aspects of civil engineering. And so, what I mean by that is we will be doing summer field trips. We'll be doing activities with engineers where we will be building things like bridges and beams of mortar beams, and we'll be doing water purification stations and that type of thing. We'll be doing field trips, going to live construction sites. We will be going to water and wastewater sites. We'll be going to railroad yards where we'll see railroad construction. So we'll be doing a lot of activities during this site. We will also be doing a lot of very interesting one-on-one instructional type activities. Well, the kids will learn about physics by hitting baseballs and actually calculating how far the baseball will go. So it's all types of activities for that week. The camp is $50 for a participation fee. That $50 pays for all the field trips, all of the activities, pays for a T-shirt. And one of the big activities, one of the big field trips we have is going to Kentucky Kingdom, where we will see behind the curtain of the amusement park of how things run at Kentucky Kingdom Amusement Park, and then the kids will be turned loose to actually enjoy the park for themselves. So it's a 1 week camp that we will have 3 cohorts, and the cohorts will be June the 15th through 21st, July 13th through 19th, and July the 27th through August the 2nd. So I'm hoping that anyone that wants to learn more about the camp, feel free to go to the Civil Engineering website at the University of Kentucky. It's right there on the front page of our website of how to go in and do registration. Registration is open right now, as a matter of fact. Thank you very much.
How many can you have in your cohort?
20 kids apiece. So we're going to have 3 cohorts, so 3 cohorts of 20 kids each. So we'll have a total of 60 kids this summer.
Thank you.
Very nice. Well, thank you so much, everyone. My name is Jesus. I am the summer camp director at YMCA Camp Kern. We are your traditional YMCA summer camp, the one that you saw in the movies. If you watch The Parent Trap, that's kind of like the camp that I'm talking to you about. We have 500 acres of land in beautiful Oregonia, Ohio. We have upwards of 450 beds, and we have programs for campers as young as 7 and as old as 17. We're mostly a resident camp. We operate Sunday to Friday for 9 weeks out of the summer. We start off on June 1st with our first session, and then we finish on a Friday, August the 1st. That'll be the last day of summer camp. Amongst the programs that we offer, we have traditional camp, which is then again your traditional American camp experience with campfires, climbing, canoeing at the lake, swimming at the swimming pool. We have zip lines, we have hikes, we have nature studies, BB guns, archery. We have all the traditional components. But we also offer a full-on ranch camp for those campers that truly want to live like they are in a ranch, that they're working along horses. That's their focus of their program. They have their own lodging, and we have 60 head of horses that we utilize throughout the summer for campers to ride on, learn how to care, learn how to groom these animals. We also have a fully immersive theme camp for campers that truthfully enjoy being a part of the movie or the book. We have 4 main themes that we do twice a summer. We have Harry Potter, Star Wars, Percy Jackson, and Dungeons and Dragons. These campers truthfully get to live like they're a part of these stories. They dress up. They don't check into the cabins. They check it into a magical world. We're very intentional about providing these fully immersive experiences. Yeah, as I said, we're in Ohio. We're about 10 minutes north of Kings Island on I-71. So we're about 35 minutes north of Cincinnati. We also have some year-round programs. We have family camps and we have seasonal camps if you guys want to come in a different season, not the summer. Um, and our fees start at $850 for a week of camp. That includes everything, all the meals, all the snacks, a t-shirt, all the photos, all the activities. So you essentially bring your camper over, you check them in, and then you can go back home for a week, and we'll take care of your camper for the whole week for that fee. We're very proud in having international staff that make up about 40% of our staffing pool. They come from 9 different countries, including the UK, Germany, New Zealand, Australia, Colombia, Mexico, Brazil, Spain, which adds that component of cultural exchange to the camp experience that we offer. So we're very excited to see some of you guys come to camp this summer. Check us out, campkern.org and at campkern1910 on social media. We have some fun things coming up this summer. Thank you guys so much.
All right, thank you. All right, so here's an opportunity for you guys to ask questions. Like I mentioned earlier, you're welcome to submit a question directly to our camp representatives, just a private question just to them, and then they can respond to you. But if you have a question that you'd like to ask that is okay for everyone to hear, you're welcome to put that in the chat and we will take your questions. Also, if it's easier for you to just unmute, you're welcome to unmute at this time and ask your question. All right, not saying anything in the chat just yet, but we will continue to talk to them, so you will have other opportunities. And if you think of something, go ahead and put in the chat. All right, continuing on. So at this point, we just want to give the camps the representative an opportunity to share what they wish parents knew. Especially if this is your first time, or even maybe this is not your first time, but you're just kind of wondering what, maybe this is your second child or third child, and this child is different from your first or second child, and every child is different, and considering their interests and personalities and all those kinds of things, you may be approaching this from a different perspective this year. So here's a nice little quote that I really appreciate when it talks about what camps wish parents knew. This quote says, "Camp is where I learned about me, facing fears, trying new things, pushing my boundaries, and accepting myself." I love that little quote. It just seems so fitting, and oftentimes what I hear happens at camp sometimes. So I'm going to go ahead now and just invite our camp representatives. If you have any advice for parents, we'll start with Jesus since you're on my screen right now. So if you have any advice, any things you wish parents knew, what would you like to share?
Yeah, definitely. That's a great question. And I think a lot of the times with first-time campers and even some of those that have come for 2 or 3 years, as they grow and they develop new skills, a lot of the times campers, we feel like they're ready for summer camp. And so you talk to them, they're very excited about summer camp. And then you talk to the parents, and it's the parents the ones that are the most nervous about this experience. And so definitely I wish the parents knew that they can trust our summer camp, that they can trust the staff that we've carefully selected for them, the program that we've designed, that they can trust that we take no risks. So our campers can take calculated risks and experience those moments that you just described, facing fears, learning new things, pushing their boundaries, and accepting themselves. So trust the programs, trust your campers. They most of the time they are ready to be at a sleepaway camp and they're going to love it. So putting a little bit more trust will definitely improve these experiences.
That's wonderful. Thank you. We'll go to Sebastian. You have anything you'd like, any advice for parents?
Oh, very much so. And thank you for asking that question. One of the things that happens in these STEM type camps is the kids, your moms and dads will come to the kids and says, "Hey, I want to send you to this STEM camp," and the kids think, "Oh my gosh, it's going to be another class. I don't. I got out of summer to get away from class. I don't want to go back to class." Well, a camp like Seek is not a classroom type of a camp. Our camp says, "Hey, we learn by doing." So Do you want to go out and do you want to go bowling and learn how bowling is related to physics? Do you want to go to say a field trip or looking at a lock and dam to see how dams actually work? Do you want to go and learn and as we talk about coding, do you want to know how you use coding of an Arduino to, in essence, to do to monitor various buildings and bridges and that type of thing? So STEM camps are not necessarily just that concept of it's another classroom experience. As a matter of fact, the majority of activities that we do in SEEK are not classroom based. The majority of the activities that we do in SEEK actually requires you to get out and do something, because that's our motto: learning by doing. So that's what I would like to pass on to you, to the parents that have the kids that really say that, oh, I don't want to do a STEM camp. Come do SEEK.
Wonderful. Thank you. Nathan, you want to add something?
Yeah, thank you. Before I answer your question, there was a question in the chat that asked what the cost for the week of code is, and it is $449 per student. We do offer some scholarships. We are securing some more, but they can fill out a form on awesomeinc.org/week of code. In the bottom in our FAQs, there's a link to a form that they can fill out for financial assistance for that. But yeah, to answer your question, I really liked Sebastian's answer because, well, ours actually is it is classroom based, but something I think I wish parents would know is that it isn't like it's more than just coding. Like the week of code, it really does spark creativity. Like when I was a kid, I was introduced to Minecraft coding when I was younger for the first time. It really introduced me to a world that I didn't fully understand. Like a lot of kids and parents think that coding, you have to be a mathematician, but it's really one of the most creative avenues that your child can be interested in. And I think that I would tell parents that your kid doesn't have to be a mathematician, or they don't have to, excel in STEM, but they'll see that it's really just a great avenue for your kids to express creativity and have these opportunities. Because coding, if you become an engineer or whatever route you go down, it will teach you valuable lessons that will benefit your child in any career. I saw a message in the chat. I'm not sure if it's okay. Never mind. It was just thank you. Yeah, that's all.
All right, that's wonderful. So before I go to my slide where I just kind of share a few additional things that camps wish parents knew, anything else that you guys may have thought of, Jesus or Sebastian? I know your turn just ended, but if you were like, oh, I should have said that. Now's your turn to share if you thought of anything else before I go on to share some tips.
Other than, even though our camp is only $50 for a participation fee, and that's everything, even still, we want to make sure that we leave no child behind. So even if $50 becomes a bit much, we do have scholarships for the $50 as well. So for a scholarship, in that case, all we have to have is a parent or guardian when we actually request or require the payment, to send us an email justifying the need for the scholarship, and we have plenty of scholarships for students that can't do the 50.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to second what Sebastian said. At the Y, we also have a robust amount of scholarships and financial aid that we have for families out there. So money constraints are never a limit for campers to enjoy summer camp. So please check him out. It's on the application. It's on the website as well.
All right. So you guys can see the details about these camp options on our website, on our Work Life website, our Summer Camps 2025 list, our directory list. You're welcome to do that. But I'm also want to invite our speakers, our camp reps, if you want to put your link in the chat, since these parents are here and they can kind of click on it from here, you're welcome to do that if you have your website link to share. All right, let's move on. So here are some tips, and I've collected these tips from camp representatives that I've talked to and spoken with. And so I'm just going to walk through these, and you guys can listen and you can determine, ah, is that new information to me? Or yes, I've heard this before. Some of it will be familiar, and you may hear something and you think, oh, that's a good tip. So the first one is like, how do you select a camp? Again, these are responses that I've received from various camps that were just answering these questions to help me gather information. What should you look for? And here's some answers. Prioritize what works in your schedule and your partner's schedule first. So that I kind of mentioned that earlier, thinking about what's our family schedule? What do we need? What's going to work for us? Look for activities that your child don't always get exposed to at school. I thought that was a really interesting one, because oftentimes some of these summer camps give them such a rich variety of things that they just don't get to do that at school, or they may not get to dive as deep into a topic sometimes or a category as they would in a camp. Don't always pick your child's favorites. Thought that was interesting. Think about helping to expand their knowledge and opportunities. So that's kind of back to the parent's perspective of, okay, what do I want them to get out of this? What do I need them to get out of this? Parents should consider their child's interests and not their own. Thought that was interesting. So that's kind of like maybe you love tennis and you think I'm gonna put them in a tennis camp, but your child hates tennis. So that's an example. What do you wish parents knew before they sent their child to your camp or activity? Here's the answers. Your children will be okay without you. Even though it might be a really new experience or they are shy or nervous, we do everything we can to ensure a smooth transition. So that's to Jesus' point earlier, that we really take care of them, trust us to take care of them, to look out for them. We will absolutely call or text if there's a challenge that is overwhelming. Expect children to be polite and treat others well. So that's they expect your child to come and behave, basically. Not saying they have to be perfect, but behave. Very interested in the topic. They want if you sign up for a particular topic or a category or specialty camp, they're saying they want your child to be interested in it. And that's just an opportunity for them to excel in this topic, in this category. And that doesn't mean they have to be like, uh-oh. It doesn't mean they have to be only interested in that, but kind of have a little interest. And then what do you need from what do we need from children attending the camp? A passion and energy to try something new, curiosity, or desire to learn more about all different types. And in this case, it was science. And the next one, any other advice? And they say prep your child for the transition and then evaluate the facilities, schedules, and the leaders of the camp. Is it a nice place, safe place, clean place? Are the camp leaders qualified? Is there a good variety of activities throughout the day? So I'm gonna go back to this prep your child for the transition. That's a good one because just making sure they understand what they're getting into. They won't know everything, you won't know everything, but at least depending on your child, this is where the personality comes into as well. If you have a child that's very like, go with the flow, I don't care what we're doing, let's just go do something, then you may not have to do quite as much transition. But if you have a child that's kind of a little nervous and they're like, they want to know everything, they want to know what's going on, that child may benefit from you sitting down and saying, here's the schedule for the day when you go to this camp. And, at 8 o'clock, they expect you to do breakfast. At this time, that might ease their nerves. So this is kind of some advice from the camps. Here's some parent to parent tips. Something that parents that I collected again from different parents that have sent their children to camps and just said, if you were talking to another parent, what would you advise them? And you'll see some overlap here, but these are some things just one parent to another parent. Ask your child if they want to attend the camp. I thought that was very interesting and just it seems obvious, right? Like, I'm gonna sign you up for this. Like, do you even want to go to this camp? And again, from the parent's perspective, you may go, I need you to go. You may have your own motivation for them going. But sometimes just, finding out, do they even want to go? Don't send them just because their siblings attended the camp. Again, considering their interests and personalities and things like that. Considering how they get along with others. Consider your child's interest, personality, maturity level, mental health. Ask for and ask about discounts. I like this ask for because that was like, huh, okay, I guess you can say, can you give me a discount? If because sometimes they do have things that's not publicized. Or they may be able to give you an additional discount that they don't publicize. So just ask for it, just in case it's available. Can your child attend with a sibling or a friend to help with the transition? So sometimes parents will get together and say, oh, these children are buddies. We're going to send them to the same camp the same week so that they know, at least they know one other person there. It may be that'll help them. Consider touring the campsite or, whatever, wherever they are in advance. Consider even taking your child with you, especially if you know your child is really nervous about it. Just take them to see the space to walk through. It kind of makes me think about beginning of the school year. At the beginning of school years, there's usually some kind of orientation or welcome back night or a day or something like that. And it oftentimes helps children to make that transition when they can go and see their classroom or they can just go into the building and walk around. It kind of eases that nervousness a little bit. Use this time to focus on work. So this is kind of that parent perspective. They're saying like your child is someplace safe, somebody is taking care of them, they're good. So focus on what you need to focus on while they're away. If you're missing your child, remember they will return. I thought that was kind of funny too. If you like the camp, consider signing up for their outreach or their mailings, whether it be social media, join their accounts, those kinds of things. So that's some good advice as well. All right. Finally, here's some quick little benefits for sending your child to camp. They oftentimes obtain life skills and confidence that's needed to be successful adults. Sometimes their camps can kind of fill in the gaps with some things that just learning perseverance, something that simple, learning how to work with others, learning how to manage your time, just learn how to stay on task. There's so many things that they can learn, but definitely confidence. Camps educate the whole child. So that's that, not just the academic piece, but the mental piece, the social piece, the emotional piece. Camps allow kids to unplug from technology. Maybe you're the parent that's like, oh my gosh, my child stays on their tablet or their whatever device. And now they get to unplug. At camp, there's plenty of time to play, which helps children with social, emotional development, physical, and well-being skills. Children can reinvent themselves at camp. So let's say your child is kind of quiet and reserved and they really want to meet some people and make some friends. Um, or your child is like, I'm not sure I like certain things, but I'm willing to try it. So camp gives them a chance to kind of try some things. And it's not permanent. It's not like a whole school year. So if it's 1 week or a couple of days or 2 weeks or whatever, they get to try it for a little bit. If they like it, great. If they don't like it, they get to walk away and say, I tried it, I experienced it. And of course, camps promote oftentimes independence. And I like this little quote in the corner here. It says, kids tend to be more courageous and try more new things when parents aren't sitting right there. I thought that was kind of interesting. It's kind of like the same thing with the classrooms. When your child is in the class with the teacher, sometimes the teacher tell you things that you go, wait, what? They did what? Because they sometimes feel so nurtured by parents that they don't step out. But when they're in spaces where they can step out and they're expected to, sometimes they surprise themselves. So this wraps up our presentation, but do you guys have any final questions or comments? I want to go back to our camp reps again. Have you guys thought of any additional comments or advice or anything you'd like to share with the parents? Parents, have you thought of any additional questions? I see one question in the chat. I'll go ahead and read that. One parent says, how do the camps suggest overcoming a child's reluctance to attend camp? My child refuses to attend any camps. Anybody that has some advice, you can just go ahead and share it.
Yeah, I'll jump in. I think a lot of the times what we've seen that works out for us is um, bringing them to camp with a buddy. Having a friend at camp would definitely help ease that transition. They'll have that sense of familiarity. Like I'm not just alone in a cabin with 10 unknown people. I have someone that reminds me of home that I'm comfortable with. So maybe seeing one of their buddies wants to go to camp, talking to that family and grouping them up together, requesting them to be together in the same group. That usually helps quite a bit. And also doing the camp tours, the camp visits, if there is a new camper orientation or a private tour that you guys can do, putting eyes to the facilities and looking what the beds look like, seeing the bathrooms, seeing the dining halls, all of those pieces also help campers feel a lot more comfortable. I think a lot of the times it's just fear to the unknown, but once they can put their eyes and their hands on where they're going to be for that week, that truthfully helps them, feel more comfortable and be more open to being at camp.
Yeah, I feel like our camp, our camp does offer discounts for if you refer a friend. So I think that's a great answer, bringing a friend along. We also are totally open to parents can come and take their kid to view the facility and talk with some of our instructors, and we can kind of give them a in-person breakdown on what they could expect. It's also only part-time, so it's 4 hours a day for 4 days. And I think that's a little less intimidating if it's like their first summer camp. But yeah, that's how I would answer that question.
Well, one of the things I'll tell, and it'll be the last thing I guess I'm the last one on this list, is that tell your kids when they say that we just refuse to go to summer camp, if they're thinking that they don't want to go because they want to spend the summer watching, sleeping, watching TVs or videos and playing games. Tell them that in some cases, some of those things we do at camp. As Nathan is saying, he's coding. He's teaching you how to code, so you can code your own video game, or in our case, some of the games that you want to play, well, we're playing, and we just have an educational aspect of it. So come to camp and explore. And if nothing else, think about going to camp and getting away from mom and dad, that you're getting out on your own.
All right. Well, thank you so much to our camp representatives, and thank you for our parents that have attended our session today. We actually have a few more of these sessions that we're offering, and you are welcome to attend the rest of the sessions this week at noon on a variety of categories. We hope to see you there.